your camera.
Okay.
And just 1 second, I will press record in just a second so that actually comes through on my main recording. As I said, it'll last about 30 to 35 minutes. Nice general chat, no problem, nice and relaxed, and helping people with their financial abundance for generations. I mean, that's fantastic, isn't it? It doesn't get much
Yes,
in that.
definitely.
Fine. Okay, my darling. So we'll take it and we'll just play it by ear. I've got a few questions that if I need to, I will ask, but it's all good. So whenever you're ready, Eruvwu, I will press record.
I'm ready. I'm just getting documents up here myself.
No problem at all, Danny. You carry on doing that,
Yeah.
and we don't have to start just yet.
Mhm. How are you doing anyway?
I am good, thank you. My little doggy is off to with her all-day doggy walker today. She
Okay,
has a time of her life on a Wednesday. She's
that's
out
good.
in the lady with in the van and lots of other little doggies. So she's cool and just feel blessed today. So that's so good.
Well, that's always a good thing. We're blessed every day, but it's great when you actually feel it.
Oh, I mean, isn't it just lovely when it's in your heart and your soul? You just kind of like, oh, yeah, feels good. Feels really good. Just let me get this camera so it doesn't make marks on my face. This is fantastic. So, and the company name is Love Nurture.
Mhm.
Yep, lovely.
The organization, it's more of an organization than the company. So a ministry slash organization.
Fine. Okay, that's great. So, I'm just going to say my piece to camera. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sphere of Success, the podcast which looks at challenge and adversity in business and how we can overcome that, how we can alchemize all of the issues that we face with God's grace and eternal gratitude to make sure that we look at this as a way to improve, to show resilience, creativity, and making the very best out of a situation that we might think isn't so great to start with. And often hindsight is something which is so good to look back and think, you know what, some of those really big issues are probably the best things that could have happened. And today I have the most incredible lady. She is a beautiful faith-based lady. Her name is Eruvwu Obuaya, and she is somebody who really helps people to have a legacy, not just for their children, but through their children's children, to actually have that financial base, often becoming mortgage free, which I think is just a wonderful place to be in, where all of those bills, all of that money worries are behind you, and you can really live in that hugely beautiful, abundant place where we're quiet, we're contented, and we're in peace and happiness. So I'm just going to read her bio because I think it's very well worth reading. So Eruvwu Obuaya is a dedicated guide helping families discover and live out God's plan for them since October 2003. Her work is deeply inspired by Proverbs 13:22, focusing on the powerful truth behind leaving a rich inheritance for future generations. Eruvwu and her husband Austin have been married since 1993 and are a testament to building a strong foundation. They've recently celebrated becoming completely mortgage free and are now on a fascinating journey to secure an Allodial title, something they're keen to teach others about. Their family includes a son, a daughter-in-law, and 3 lovely daughters. Welcome. It's just such a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Deb.
Oh, and before we begin, I had to look this word Allodial title up because I've been in finance and I hadn't heard of that. So I think it's perhaps a good question to get us stuck in deep dive into what you do. What is an Allodial title?
Well, an allodial title is
Oh,
where
allodial. Oh,
allodial,
thank you.
yeah, that's okay. Because where we can't say it, we can always read it. But the key fact is that here in the UK anyway, where we feel we own our mortgage, especially those who have paid off their mortgages, say, oh, I paid off my mortgage. But the thing is, and I learned this a few years ago, the Crown owns your property. So whether you feel you've paid it off or not, if the Crown owns the land, sorry, not the property, the Crown owns the land. So unless you can physically lift your house off the land, you do not own it. So that's the allodial title. That's where it comes in, where you own it free and clear of the Crown.
Oh, and by
Yeah, I'm
crown.
trying to go really layman's terms
Oh, no,
because,
please do, because
yes,
I think that's
because
the
it's a
best
big word
way.
anyway. And in
Yeah.
real life, we need to keep things simple and easy.
What is it? And I think I know what you mean, but I'm sure some people, what do they mean by the crown? What is that? What
Oh,
does
we're talking about
crown
King
mean?
Charles now.
Hmm.
So late Queen Elizabeth owned the land. Now her son Charles has taken over. He owns all the land. If it's registered to HM registry here in the UK, the equivalent could be the same wherever anyone else is listening from. The register's title goes to the Crown or to whoever it's registered to. So when we say, oh, I have a mortgage, it will be registered with Land Registry. And even though you may have paid off that mortgage, as long as it is listed there as owned by, you signed a piece of paper to register it, your registration has caused you to give it over. And this is something, so funny enough, you said that you've worked in finance. It's not taught in finance. I
No.
have a legal background. It wasn't taught in tort law, property law, land law. It wasn't taught to us either. So the thing is, it's information that is out there, but you need to know where to look.
Well, yes, and that's something that I hadn't got any idea that when we have our lovely homes and we work hard and we tend to the gardens and perhaps we live in a
Yeah.
flat or
Mm-hmm.
something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and we're bringing up our families and we're thinking
Mm-hmm.
one day my inheritance would be that I would like to think I could leave this to my family. You're not owning the actual land that it's built on.
No.
Oh my
No.
goodness, that
That
is,
was a shocker to me too when I heard it. I thought, what? No, that's not right. And
yeah.
I
Because
wanted
you think
to
you
do
own
something
your
about
little
it.
bit, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So
Hmm.
this is everything in the country. It was
Mm.
like farmland and
Farmland, as long as it's registered, even if you've paid it off, you do not own it. One government law could just come in to just wipe all you feel you own clean off your plate, so to speak.
whoa, this is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So everybody listen up because this
Mm.
is something really of value that we're
Yeah.
going to discuss today. And that's,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the Crown owns the actual land that your house
Yeah.
is built on. So
Yeah.
when people buy land, they're buying the opportunity to use that land, are they?
Yes. Yes.
Ah, they don't actually
Yeah.
own the
Yeah.
land.
This is why we hear the term subject being bandied around and we don't really take the time to ponder what does that really mean to me? We are subjects of the crown.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I have nothing against our monarchy. I
Me
mean,
neither
I have nothing against them. It's
until they try and take my land.
well, do you know, um, this has obviously been going back since
Robin
way
Hood. It
back.
makes sense why people like Robin Hood did what he did. Now I know what I know.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
this is very interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you. So it's an Allodial title, which
Allodial title. Allodial.
I'm sorry, allodial title.
That's
I
quite all
remember it.
right.
Everybody else is like, come on, Deborah, get
Allodial
this name right. Allodial title.
title.
And it's the method of actually
Owning it, owning your land
owning
free and
from the
clear.
crown.
So you own the property, you own the land on which it is. So they can't come one day with switch off the law and say, well, we're coming to possess your property, even though you've paid off the mortgage. It's not registered with land registry. It's taken off the land registry and you own it. So yeah,
Wow,
that's
that's
the whole basis for
amazing.
Allodial Title. Yeah.
Right. And now going into, because you and I are interested in similar things, and even if one isn't a Christian, but believes in the pathway of God, etc., I think this is
Mhm,
worthwhile listening to because we all have our books and in the Christian faith it's called the Bible.
mm,
And you said that you're basing your a lot of what you do around Proverbs 13:22.
mhm.
What does that passage actually say?
Well, Proverbs 13:22, let me get my glasses and read it for all of us, because that's a good question. And yes, to back up what I'm saying so that your listeners right now won't think that I'm just making things up. If anyone is happy to read, go read the SQV Act. I think it's 1866, and you'll find what I'm saying right there.
This is the which act?
SQV Act. So it's kind of like a French word, and I don't speak any
Oh,
French, so
oh,
pardon me.
okay, okay. Well,
SQV Act 1866. I say it sounds like French, does not mean it's a French statute. It's a law based in England
yeah, well, a
and
lot of
Wales.
our
Yeah,
language came from France and was
yeah,
derived from French words. So we can put all of this in the description. So
yeah,
just make sure that I have that information so that we
yeah,
can include that in the description.
yeah.
Um,
I do have PDFs that I will be happy to distribute to people who take action at the end of all this. So they don't have to try and remember or memorize anything. Yeah.
Oh wow. You know what? We I think English common law is very good. I think that it's a lot of basis of justice system. I think that's in the United States as well.
Mhm.
Some of these ancient laws, we can't know everything, and sometimes
No,
you just
no.
think, whoa, gosh. And it's just like
Mhm,
from Bible principles, of which you're talking now, these
mm.
Proverbs, because any good book allied to
Yes.
religious faiths, and that can be
Mm,
Muslim or
mm,
Hindu or anything where we're thinking, or Jewish faith. I want to be inclusive, but I can't say them all. Um,
mm,
is there are words of wisdom being spoken in these books. They
mm,
can be just as relevant for us today as
mm,
they were all those years when they were first written, because people are people and we have our strengths and we have our weaknesses.
mm,
And so, what was said before, when we think about how we live our lives now,
mm,
can be just as relevant, if not absolutely relevant,
mm,
from the times that we're going
mm.
through. So, yeah, please do
Okay.
share with us if you wouldn't
Well, let me
mind. What
say
is it?
something there to kind of clarify what you're saying. And I know political correctness makes a lot of people shiver and backtrack and go into areas of debate that we really shouldn't go into. When Jesus was walking the earth, he spoke the truth of the gospels that we know today. And without trying to alienate anyone, he would say, the words that I speak are spirit and they are life. So the thing is, people have a choice to accept or reject it. The
Mhm.
Bible is the oldest book. We understand all these other faiths, and most of them, as we discussed before, do stem from Abraham. A lot of them will
Yeah.
connect to Abraham. But however, Jesus did say, a greater than Abraham is here, and that's him. So Proverbs 13:22 says, a good person leaves an inheritance for their grandchildren. Yes. And
Really?
various variations will say the one I like best is KGV, children's children. So just to be very clear, it's not just the grandchildren, but you leave your children better off and then their children, so that when you hear stories about, oh, children are living at home longer, they are going to the bank of mom and dad, it makes sense. We are meant to leave an inheritance to our children's children, unless they've gone off to marry. There's no reason why we should. It's a Western thing anyway. You find in Africa and Asia, we're not so keen to kick our adult children out of the house anyway. So in this context, we leave an inheritance to our children's children. It's integrity mainly. It's wealth, which is physical wealth that we all know, and and so many other things that we leave to our children, so that long after we've gone, the legacy of faith lives on, the legacy of wealth lives on, and other things that God wants to use a parent to distribute through their bloodline continues.
And if every generation knew this and actually did that for their children's children and their children's children and their children's children, then we have a chain reaction, don't we?
Yeah.
Running through, so that actually poverty and hardship will be often a thing of the past, because if we keep this with our legacy. And something else I wanted to touch upon is, you were saying, for legacy, not comfort, in the work that you do. This again is a principle where of course we like nice things, don't we? But always a nice holiday or new clothes, especially to spoil others. And sometimes, I know I do, I have to look and think, was that absolutely necessary? Was that something that is, I remember at Christmas, sometimes I go to friends and sometimes I look and I think, there is too much given for materialistic stuff, rather than maybe given to people less fortunate, or to have less. We're all adults, so we don't really need a lot of stuff, but we like to think that we give. But sometimes I'm like, could we have given that to charity? Could we have done something for that day where we could have helped out others who were less fortunate? And sometimes I do think, oh, it's a bit guilty, because I go to church and then I'm like, am I really living that value and this comfort element? I'd love you to talk a little bit about, what is it about legacy, not comfort, that we should be striving for?
So I don't think they are separate from each other, actually. You can still be comfortable leaving a legacy to your children's children. It's not a case of you scrimping and saving, and when the children are old enough, you're worn out and half dead because that's what you did. You avoided comfort so that they can have a better life. Every good parent should have that goal and aim to allow their children have a better life than they did. But I wouldn't say you would have to do it to the to the expense of your comfort. So legacy would be looking at multiple income streams. I recall us touching on it, and you said you didn't know. It's in the Bible, Ecclesiastes 11, 1 and 2. And it's divide your portion up to 8 places, 7, possibly 8, because you don't know what danger will come upon the land. And various versions of scripture will give you clarity on what that would mean. So if we look back to 2019, 2020, when COVID came, if a lot of us had implemented that scripture, and I knew that scripture before, and to be fair, since 2014, I'd been doing something called the money jar system. I don't know how many of your listeners know about the money
Please
jar
do tell us.
system.
Yeah.
Well, it's where you divide portion of your salary or your income into, I think it's up to 8 or 10 jars. And it's a post I have on Instagram, especially, that I recall seeing it there some time ago, but I put it there years back. So if people want to scroll through, they'll see the money jar system. But basically, you divide it into a few portions, like 10% in certain places, 55% in certain places. Let me see if I could have a quick look at it. Money
Yeah,
jar.
I love this.
Yeah, so I can explain it. So basically, say for example, we've got bills and expenses that we need to pay. So that makes sense that every responsible person will have money put aside for their bills and expenses when it comes. So you would say maybe 55% would go there. So now that you've put 55% towards bills and expenses, you want to look at other areas like long-term saving plans. Everyone again should have long-term saving plans. Maybe it's for a holiday or to make a very big purchase or something of that sort. Then you want to leave 5% for charity, and you want to also reward yourself 10%. And these rules are strict. It's not something you can really play around with for it to really work. And 10% would be for you to spend on yourself so that you can buy whatever it is you want to buy, like how you said, without feeling guilty. As long as it's within the 10%, spend it on yourself. You've already covered charity. You've already paid, put aside for your expenses. You're being a good citizen, for want of a better word. I don't want to use that word, but for want of a better word, you're being a good, you're paying your bills and all that. Now you've got 10% to spend on yourself. No guilt and no expense of comfort. So that system works because it allows you now to spend in such a way that you are looking after your day-to-day needs, and at the same time you are saving for the future. And I don't know who started it, but it seemed to be steeped in maybe Christian values of sorts, because it makes sense to do something like that, because that habit that you're building every month, saving 10% towards expenses for the future, you find that when those sudden expenses come up, you've got money set aside. You don't have to take from the gas bill or from the electricity bill or from whatever bill to pay up. And when it comes to charity you want to give, you find you've got a fund for charity. So you can give as much as you can within your 5% to charity. So that's basically how the money jar system works. I could also send a link to that later so that people can check it out.
I think
Yeah.
this is so good because, I wish I had in my young life,
Mm.
I was on my own very quickly, and I was trying to keep myself afloat, as you do,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
keep a roof over my head, and I never really got until recently, very recently, in fact, into a situation where I was I was investing wisely into things and taking portion of my money. It always seemed to be hand to mouth and living up or above my means and finding that things were stressful and difficult. And then I thought, well, the only person to be able to change this is me. And so now I'm much more disciplined, and I'm much more, as you say, and I like, and we can talk about this, the different areas of where you should place in accordance with Bible principles. And I
Yeah.
had no
Mm.
idea it told you. It's
Yeah.
very practical, isn't it?
However, not a lot of people do know this, and don't even
No.
beat yourself up, because there are husbands and wives that don't even know this. So, as I said, I just got to know about the money jar system 9 years ago. So, yes, I've been able to pull it up. So, there's the necessities, 50% goes there. I said 55, so correction. Long-term savings, 10% goes there. When you say long-term savings, maybe you want to invest. That's where you put your 10%. Um, um, 10% goes to education, and education is personal growth. A lot of people think, oh, I finished university. I'm never picking up another book again. That is a big mistake. You do need to feed your mind. You need to learn things outside of education. Like, you've got the financial background, I've got the legal background. We didn't know the thing about the Allodial Title. So yeah, you can't just rely on what they teach you in school. You have to dig deeper. So that will be 10% for education. Sorry, I've got a bit of a runny nose today, so please, people do forgive me. We've got the play money, which is 10%. Enjoy your life, travel, dine out, hobbies without guilt. Um, then there's the giving, which will be 5%. Some people might choose to make up to 10%. I put 10 because as a Christian, I firmly believe in the tithing principle. I know not all Christians believe in it, saying things like Old Testament and so forth. But just quick side note here, Melchizedek, we understand tithe first mentioned in the Old Testament with Abraham giving gifts to a king called Melchizedek who had no beginning or end. The New Testament says Jesus is a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. So that rules out anyone's argument. I think anyone who argues like that is either ignorant or they just don't want to give. They just want to withhold more than is meet. And there's a scripture for that. When you withhold more than is necessary, it leads you to poverty. You think you're hoarding and you're benefiting yourself. You're not. So that's the given. Then there's the financial freedom. This is wealth building, where you put 10% into like something like this. Oh, Eru might have some information that is important to me. Now she's going to ask, because I will, if anyone comes up to me, going to ask for a fee. 10% could go towards that. Then there's the bit, let's see. That's it. So there are 6 jars. Some people would have 7, but 6 jars is what the money jar system talks about. But after learning that, with what I know from Ecclesiastes chapter 11, I try and have up to 7. And for me, practically, how does that work? Bank accounts. Instead of having little jars, which is cute around the house, I have bank accounts. This bank account is for that. That bank account is for that. And that's how people can start. Start with £1. Start with 50p. Start with 20p. The thing is, it's a habit that you can build on, and it can only get better.
Well, the great thing is with that as well, if you have it out by standing order and it comes into your account without you even and then it goes to these different accounts.
Very good.
Then you haven't had to physically do that.
Very good.
It then starts to build up.
Yes.
And so I invested in some things at the end of last year, and I keep a track of where they are, etc. And all of a sudden, you see little growth, and then it grows a bit more. And then the thing is with compound interest, you can talk about that when you speak with people, but it has this kind of this magical effect. And you don't see anything for a little while, and then all of a sudden you think, oh, that's had a bit of a jump. Oh, that's had a bit of a jump. And so then you know that the peace of mind that that's given me has been beyond the riches that I'm actually getting from the bank accounts and the different things that I'm doing, because now I can sleep properly at night. I don't fear the things that come through in the brown envelope saying HMRC tax and all of that, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I've got the funds there to be able to do with it. And it's that regular monthly habit that actually means that, yes, I'm putting something away every month. And as I said, I'm very open. I've had situation in my life where it wasn't right. And so I've been able to change this, which is fabulous. And then because I am, and I can only speak personally, but because then I'm more relaxed, I'm more open to people, I'm less anxious because that part of it is not a worry anymore. I show up for people in a better way. I show up for myself in a much better way. And actually, I know that people have perhaps a negative connotation of pride, the word pride, but I am proud of my achievement. That isn't egotistical. That isn't saying, oh, look at me. But I am proud that I've turned things around. And I think that gives us then a sense of contentment and knowledge that we can do something. We make something work.
Yes.
And so again, when you're dealing, because you deal with families and traditionally married couples, how do you see in their relationship with their wealth creation? How do you see that benefiting their relationship?
Oh, immensely, beyond words. And the thing is, it can only be imagined. So I would answer that with, imagine you're a married couple. You've learnt the money jar system. You're doing what Ecclesiastes 11:1 and 2 has said. You are now starting from this month to divide your income up into 7, even 8 portions, because the Bible says you don't know what evil will come upon the earth. Look at what happened with COVID. So you've got that cushion, you've got that protection. You have no worries about if I lose my job or my wife loses her job, or if the children need hospital care, about the children's future, what's going to happen. You don't have those worries anymore. As you said, Deborah, how would you sleep at night? How would that make you feel, having no financial worries, knowing that you've taken care of things like that? And the biggest worry, your home, knowing that you are mortgage free, you've voided the mortgage, you don't have that niggling worry in the back of your mind that one day we might not be able to pay because somebody might die, somebody might fall ill. You don't have that worry. You own the land free and clear. You'll be able to go on holidays. You'll be able to go on great holidays, not some budget holidays, nothing bad about budget holidays. I've had some great budget holidays, but generally they do get a bad rep. So you wouldn't have to go on those bad rep budget holidays. So that's what being financially free could do for a married couple. And when you don't have that financial stress, you won't be snapping at each other and snapping at the children. You'll be showing up and available for each other. And to me, that is priceless.
And the other thing is as well, you can teach your children to do the
They
same at a
watch.
young
You don't
age.
even need to say a word. They
Mm.
watch.
Yeah. And I think that when they are looking at parents, and as I say, I don't have children, so I'm not, but I know that my friends who do have children, and often the children will say something, and the parents go, "We never told you that." Well, they've listened and they've learned, and children are mimics, aren't they? Their hero is their dad, they're looking towards their father for guidance. And when they see their father taking that situation into their own hands and actually
Yeah,
doing things
yeah,
properly,
yeah,
they will see how that
yeah,
affects the father and the mother's
yeah,
relationship. And,
yeah.
I think, again, I think as well, I have numerous friends, and one which was a childhood friend, and her parents were very money savvy. They were
Yes,
financially educated, and my
yes,
parents, I don't believe, were. So her parents never seemed to have an issue about the
yeah,
holiday, or we can't afford this,
yeah,
or
yeah,
having a row about the
yeah,
situation
yeah,
for payments. And my parents used to have enormous rows. I was told back as a child, close the windows, because then I knew, oh yeah, mum and dad are about to have a huge row, which was very, very horrible for me.
yeah, yeah,
I hated that.
yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of
Mm,
kids, they go through that, and the
yeah,
parents don't realize the effect
yeah,
that's having on the children often.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
And
Yeah, yeah.
so I remember, and her father said to me, "Oh, have you, when I got older, have you got
Mm,
any stocks or shares?" And I said, "Don't even know what that is."
mm,
And they'd already been buying things for my friend as a, like, I think it was then post office savings account for
yeah,
my
yeah.
friend, and she'd
I
already
remember that.
got,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she'd already got a substantial amount of money that was hers because of the savings of the finance. And he says, and then he told me something. He said, you should have different
Yeah.
things rather than just your job.
Yes, yes. And that's what people don't understand, especially those that have a great job. The boss is great, the colleagues are great, life feels great. But the thing is, what if you can't work? Forget being fired, but you can't work. And this is a business. After a while, in spite of how much they might feel for you, they might have to let you go. What will happen there? This is why Ecclesiastes 11:1 and 2 shouldn't be sniffed at. Start today. Don't
Mm.
come up with any more excuses. When you, instead of saying, I can't afford this, we can't afford this, what can we do? This is something I learned from Robert Kiyosaki around 2005, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the cash flow quadrant. He had two fathers, basically, for those who don't know about him. And one was educated professor, but he had a poor man's mindset and he was poor. living from hand to mouth. The salary was kind of finished before the end of the month, what people generally go through. Then the other one was his best friend's father, who was a businessman, secondary school, I think, dropout. And he didn't have any money worries because he understood what a lot of us are beginning to understand now, that what they teach you in schools about finances is, if they teach at all, is completely different from the real world. We need personal development. We need to understand how money works. We need to understand Ecclesiastes 11, divide portions. How do you do that? Have a job, have some people call it side hustle, have other things you're doing, have investments, because not everyone wants to be doing a side hustle, but learn to divide your funds accordingly. I'm putting this away for a rainy day. And people used to say that back when I was growing up. Those people were savvy. I'm putting this aside for a rainy day. I'm putting this towards something I want to buy, but I can't afford now. But I'm putting a little towards it today. Next month, I'll put some more. And that's how you begin to build that nest egg and protect yourself.
I do understand, and I'm very open with this as well, because I share the things in my life that hopefully other people can learn from without making the same mistakes as me.
Yeah.
And when COVID hit, and I know people say, "Oh gosh, you can't keep on going back to COVID," but it's struck so many people, and still things are not right for a lot of people because of
It's
that.
very true.
And
How can
so,
we not go back to it, is what I say. The
well,
Spanish flu, that was history. Then we had
yes.
COVID, that's new history. So yes, we will keep going back to it. It's a lesson that many of us still need to learn
Well,
from.
absolutely,
Yeah.
because the work that I was in could not survive under the COVID issue. I was
Mm,
involved with helping a lot of people who had to travel.
mm,
It was management consultancy internationally, and they
yeah.
needed to get on aircraft. They needed to be in other people's offices to see how they could
Hmm.
help them. And of course, all that stopped. And this is
Yes.
before Zoom became
Yes.
an everyday thing.
Yes.
And in a lot of cases, that still would not have been able to take the
Yeah.
place of actually being physically with the people. So all of
Yes.
that work dried up literally overnight.
Yes.
And I always say, thank goodness I put some money by over the years, because otherwise I didn't even
Yes.
qualify for furlough because I was
Yes.
self-employed. I couldn't get anything. So
Yeah.
I thought, well, and do you know what? I thank God at that moment
Yes.
for the
Yeah. We must
foresight
always
of
give
putting
him
that money
thanks.
away
Mm.
so that I knew I didn't have it for I couldn't last forever like that. But for
Yeah.
the time it happened, and then my heart went out to the people that
Yeah.
were not in that situation, because
Yeah.
it's like, well, what would you do? How would you
Mm.
live? How would you
Mm.
have any
Mm.
income if you weren't? And the frightening thing,
Mm.
you'll know more than me about this, is that so many people, you're like about one paycheck or one and a half paychecks away from not
That's what I'm
having any
thinking.
money coming
That's
in.
exactly what I'm thinking. A lot of people, their paycheck, that what you said, plus, if many people, let's say, take a survey of your listeners right now, everyone ask yourself, if you were to be fired from your job, or you just couldn't do your job for some reason, and you're not going to get compensation for your job, you just have to leave today, would you survive 6 months? That's a question. And if you can't survive 6 months financially stable, at least, why won't you be able to do that? And what are you going to do about it today? Because I don't know if it's a British thing, and I'm saying this as a British citizen. I've got dual nationalism, nationality. Sorry, I'm Nigerian. I'm also British, born and raised in Britain, and Nigerian. British when it suits me. But the thing is, when we tend to have this entitlement mentality, oh, the government will take care of me, and this should happen and that should happen, we need to learn to start taking responsibility. So, as I was saying, I don't know if it's a British thing, but or a Nigerian thing, we should stop feeling entitled. thinking it's somebody else's problem, it's someone else's responsibility. It's your responsibility to look after yourself and look after your family. If someone else can help you, that's a blessing, that's a bonus. But you're not to rely on other people. You're to trust God and then do what it is you can do, what He is leading you to do for yourself.
Yes, I agree. And the thing is about this podcast, it's looking at challenge and adversity and how we
Mm.
come from that. So if that had not happened to me, I would have still been carrying on likely in the way that I
Yes,
have been doing,
exactly.
and nothing would have changed until the
Yeah.
next crisis came. I would have
Hmm.
been older.
Yes.
My health might not have been as it was. I was perfectly good health. Something could have happened in the meantime to give me a worse situation than what I was in at the time.
True.
Interestingly enough, because of that, that
Hmm.
got me into various different routes, but one of
Yeah.
them was podcasting. But
Okay.
now I've future-proofed my business because
Yeah.
I now have something that is online,
Hmm.
whereas I didn't have that before. So
Very
that
true.
God has come in and helped me shape that.
Yes. Yeah.
I've also set up another business, which is to do with helping people with
Hmm.
outsourcing their work if they're too busy. It's one of those with virtual assistants. So I've got that
Hmm.
business.
Hmm.
And then I also thought, right, I've got to have something more of something that is in behind the scenes working for me. So I've had some investments.
That's
And
good.
then just now, because I live on my own and I have more than one bedroom, I'm very fortunate to have that.
Yes. Yeah.
Going to be having a lodger.
Yes.
And the fact is, before I'd have gone, oh, I wouldn't share my home with, well, there's somebody that needs somewhere to live, most likely. I can give them a nice room and share the space that I'm not using. So,
Yes.
and then they can pay me for that room. And there's an
Exactly.
income thing which says you can earn about, I think, up to £7,000
Mm.
through having a lodger, and you don't have to pay tax on that.
Hmm.
I think it's a spare room thing. I think, there's something there, isn't there? So I looked that up and I thought, well, that will help me pay a lot of the bill towards
Mm.
the house and we know that. And it's bringing an income in. And then I know as well, because I'm single and I live on my own for the time being, and I'm not after them to look after me. But if I had an accident or what have you, I don't know how
Yeah.
I would know. In
Exactly.
a lodger in my home,
Yeah.
it would know if I wasn't well. So at least they can
Yeah.
alert somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, my whole mind shifted then and it opened up new areas.
Yeah.
And so you obviously speak to a lot of people around
Mm.
this type of things. So often there's a catalyst that has perhaps not been pleasant,
Hmm. Like
rather than,
COVID,
yeah,
like the crash in 2007, 2008, the house crash, and the something rock as well started with
Northern
that as
Rock.
well. Yes, there you go. So the thing is, we have history which seems to be repeating itself. Us burying our heads in the sand is not helping anyone.
Totally agree. I totally agree. So what would be your advice? Because you do this, which I think is amazing on biblical principles,
Thank you.
which is fabulous. I love it. People might go, "Oh, you've mentioned it too. You've mentioned ecclesiastical so that people can see why this is mentioned. But coming back to the Bible, is this something that people of faith are taught? Because I've never come across
No,
this.
it's not, yeah, and it's sad because you find a lot of pulpits would well preaching coming from pulpits or teaching coming from pulpits saying, "Oh, we are not here to preach a prosperity gospel and so forth." And yes, that's not what the pulpit is for. Excuse me. But Jesus did preach, and the Bible does confirm this, that the gospel is all round. It's not just for the salvation of souls. That is the foundation. But once your soul is saved, what else? The Bible tells us things like I think it's Deuteronomy 8:18. And let me read it. Let me not just say it off by heart because I can paraphrase it. It is God who gives us power for wealth. Deuteronomy 8:18. Deuteronomy. And that's the beauty of Google. So use technology. Technology can be used for so many beneficial things. So it says, remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth. So wealth, I know a lot of people are making wealth without God, but would you, having the choice, would you rather be wealthy through God's power and ability in you or through some demonic power? Because if there's a God, there is a devil. So which one would be enduring? Which one would be long lasting? I would say the one that I get from God, and that's the one that will not come back to bite me, if you will. So yes, why not? So there's that scripture. And some people again might say, but that's Old Testament. I recall um, backing this up in the New Testament as well. If I can find it, bear with me.
Yeah, well, while you're looking for that, I just
Yeah.
also wanted to say, it's a sad indictment that a lot of young people and older people too are making their wealth through criminal activity in whatever
Yeah,
that is. A lot of it could be fraud,
yeah,
some of it through the selling of drugs, etc.,
yeah. Selling themselves. Yeah,
selling themselves.
yeah,
But
yeah,
ultimately,
yeah.
that does not create contentment and happiness
Or
and
lasting
freedom,
wealth.
because you all have to look over your shoulder for the rest of your life to see if somebody's out to get you, to harm you. When you do something in the way that is in God's grace, then you can stand proud and
Yeah,
be,
you can.
and you know that you're,
And not
you're
look
in the
over your
truth.
shoulder, as you've just said. Yeah.
And so, some people are very hungry for fame,
Mm,
people for the money,
mm,
for everything, but
mm.
ultimately you can tread God's way and have
Yes.
abundance. A lot of people say, oh, you can't be wealthy or have
Mm,
money if you have faith in God. And
mm,
actually it's kind of like the opposite. I'm like, my business has never flourished more. I have never been in such good health and in such a good
mm-hmm.
positive mental state to be able
Yeah.
to do this work.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, when you're doing it under the God's grace, and I always check myself, make sure that, I am working in that way,
Yeah.
it is so fulfilling and it's so gratifying to
Mm-hmm.
know that often it can be done in the service of others as well.
Mm,
But you're creating abundance like you are doing through your work. I'm trying to do this through the podcasting and giving business people a voice and learning how to do it for themselves.
mm-hmm.
You can be doing something in the principles of God within the financial services industry or in your work. You might be working at home, and it might be that you're turning a hobby that you like into something that can generate an income, which I know
Mm,
a lot of people do. Um, if you're doing that with God's grace and you're doing that
mm,
and you're honest and
mm-hmm.
you're trustworthy, people will refer business to you. People will
Yes.
want to be in your company. People will trust you and
Mm,
know that they're doing something with you that everybody can benefit from.
mm,
If you're doing stuff underhanded, you're cutting people out of deals for your own ends, it's not long before people think, I can't trust that person. I wouldn't want to do business with them. Look how they treated so and so, or look how they took the limelight when it wasn't theirs to take
yes.
and didn't give people the credit. And then you find that people, oh, yeah, well, they're just after promoting themselves. They don't care about anybody else.
Yeah.
That is a shame because
Mm,
if you do it the other way, you get many more people wanting to work with you, many more people like us. I meet wonderful people like yourself every day,
thank you.
which is just beautiful in itself. It's just fantastic. And I know that you wouldn't be coming into my sphere if there wasn't something which we both identified within each
Mm-hmm.
other. And so it's the company that you can keep. It's the learning from people and the people
Yeah.
with open hearts
Mm,
who want to be in your life when you're doing things
mm.
in the way that God would want you to. It's
Yeah.
very, very fulfilling.
Yeah. People need to remember applied knowledge is power. A lot of people say knowledge is power. but we need to expand that. You might know something and do nothing about it. But when you know something and you do something about it, that's powerful. And as you said, when we connect to the right people and we learn from each other and we go and apply it, that's powerful. So going back to scriptural references to wealth, we've got Luke 6:38. It's talking about when you gave it, you receive back onto yourself. And it's not just financial, but it doesn't exclude financial as well. You get pressed down, shaken together, running over measure. There's the scripture in Matthew 7:24 through to 27 that says, build your house upon the rock. It's talking about foundations, having the right foundation to build so that when trouble comes, like COVID, like the house crash crisis, you won't be affected. Even Jesus, while he was walking the earth, he did not tell people that wealth was evil, wealth was bad. No, what he was saying when he said that it's hard for a rich man to go to heaven, because when the quote was, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go into heaven. He was not saying that it's bad to be wealthy. What he was saying is that with the mindset that a lot of rich people have, that's what will make it hard for them to go into heaven. That's self-sufficiency. God does not want us to, as we have alluded to make our wealth outside of him. It's only through his grace. And when we have this wealth, we're to use it to glorify him, to honor him. And that's how we can have wealth and still get to heaven, through Jesus, because Jesus is the only way, truth, and life. And this is not to alienate other scriptures, because this gospel is free and available to everyone. While you are breathing, you have the opportunity to come to Jesus just as you are.
This is beautiful. And what a wonderful place to end our conversation, because please do, everybody, please do get in touch with Eruvwu, because her knowledge, her insight into how we can have a life of abundance, of wealth, of joy, of peace, of happiness is something which you can do through Bible principles. And
Yes.
you can put this in actionable steps. You can do it this afternoon. It would be, it's perfectly doable. Start small, build up, etc. Find your footing, see what works and what doesn't work for you, because we're all different. But ultimately, we can do this in a faith-based, beautiful way that glorifies our wonderful God and can elevate ourselves and our families into places where we can only dream of at the moment. So it's such a wonderful gift that you're giving to people. And Eruvwu, how can people get hold of you?
Oh, well, they can go to my social media platforms. Instagram, I'm quite active there. Facebook, I try to be active, not as active as Instagram, but I do go a few times a week. TikTok, I'm there. LinkedIn, I'm there. And the link that says Allodial Title is where they'll find the information today. If they click on these links and register, they'll be able to get PDF information on what I've spoken about today in regards to those who want to own their property free and clear. That's where you'll be
Own the
able to get the
rock,
PDF.
own the rock that it's built on,
Yeah.
the firm
Honestly,
foundation.
that's a very good one. Own the rock.
Own the rock.
Yeah. Or just be submitted to the rock, which is Christ. We can't own him, so be submitted to the rock.
Well, this
And
is
then, yes,
terrific. I love
yeah.
it. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that I've learned so much listening to you
Thank you.
today. So
Appreciate it.
inspiring. So thank you so much. And
You're very welcome.
no problem. Thank you. And everybody listening, oh gosh, what an amazing episode. Truly insightful, truly inspiring. And as I say, very actionable as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, everybody, for
You're very
listening.
welcome.
And we'll see you all again very soon. Be successful. And please do like, comment, subscribe, and share so that we can spread the word of the abundance that Eruvwu is absolutely advocating, because lives can change, and it's not just our own lives, but our children and their children and their children, all the way down. It's a chain reaction. I think that's wonderful. So until next time, everybody, thank you so much, and see you all again very soon. Bye now. Whoa, that went by in a heartbeat. And I looked at the time and I'm like, wow. Oh, oh, I felt the spirit. I felt the spirit of our wonderful Lord. And oh, it just came beautiful,
Oh,
Eruvwu. Thank you
praise God.
so much.
You're very welcome.
Oh, you're a lady of
Thank you.
beautiful talent. Absolutely lovely. Really,
Thank you.
really special to have you on
Thank
the
you.
show. Thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
So what will happen next is I will send this as a link to my podcast manager, Ikra, and she will be able then to work her magic and make it all look great. She'll send the details out to you for your review along with the description. Please
Okay.
do, if you've got anything else which we've kind of like alluded to, please do give it to me. I know you've kindly sent me the one to Allodial
Yes. The beauty
invitation,
of
but
that, Deborah, I kind of broke it down, kind of gave a summary, so it's a bit more information and a link. So if those who want to get started, they can click on that link. However, I will add another link for those who just want to join the private members association I'm part of. They don't have to pay to join that to get some more information. But the thing is, those who take action, as we said, they're the ones who are rewarded. When they take action, they actually go through the material, they watch the videos, they make the call, they read the information, and they pay for the service they want. Then if they need hand holding because it's still fairly new, then someone like me can hold their hand and guide them. But where somebody just wants to just kind of browse around, they can browse around, but that's
you
where
always get
we'll
a
leave it.
percentage, don't you? You get the
Yeah,
people that really want to do it and take
yeah,
action, and then you get the majority saying, "Oh yeah," and then move on. So
yeah,
Winston Churchill was always the one who said, "Most people stumble over a fantastic opportunity, get back up, dust themselves down, and carry on."
yeah,
But every now and again, they do it. They think, oh, yeah, I've got to do this. So,
yeah.
no, thank you. That was great. And also, whenever and if ever it resonates with you from a podcasting perspective, I mean, you're a great guest, but if you think that you would like to hone your skill a little more on that,
Okay,
then
yeah,
do let me know. I'm always here to assist if ever you felt that you'd like to embark on a
definitely. Thank
podcasting
you.
journey.
Thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
will bear that in mind. Yeah.
superb.
But I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to, you're very welcome, Deborah. Did you check out the link I sent you about scaling? Did you listen to it, the audio?
Oh, hang on. Have I missed
You know, the
something?
last time we had a chat, I put two things in the chat, how to pronounce my name and the scaling audio. Very good for business owners like us.
Oh, hang on.
It just helps you to just take your business to a whole new other level. And the material's free, at least the audio.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I will email it to
Oh,
you.
could you? Because
Yes,
no, I don't remember seeing that. So thank you for mentioning it again, because
you're very
I didn't do
welcome.
that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'd love to have a look. Thank you very much, my love.
You're
Thank
very,
you.
yeah, just listen to it and just see how you'll benefit. But basically, what the speaker was talking about is businesses being stuck at a certain point, even those that are successful, not scaling to the next level because they're all over the place, or they find it very hard to dream big and take that big leap of faith and so forth. It was phenomenal. I thought, wow. And I kind of like audios anyway. So I'll send that out to you. And
Oh, thank
my
you.
link, yeah, you already have my link to the document. I'll leave it as it is, and people can go through the summary. If they like it, they click and pay for what they need to pay for. Otherwise, they've got my social media information. Yeah,
Beautiful. Thank you.
yeah,
And I would love to
yeah.
listen to that audio. So yeah, please do send that through, my
I
darling.
will do that.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much.
You're very
Thank you,
welcome.
Ruvu. Thank you. Okay. Take
Take
care,
care.
darling. Speak soon. Bye-bye
Bye.
now. Bye.